Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday. It's going to be a wonderful Wednesday. Why? Because I deem it so. So today's talk is the stench of negativity. So a few years back, we were living in a house different from where we are here, but we were still in Elyria. That's really not important to the story. Anyhow, the way this house was made, we had a deck, right? And we didn't know that there was like space up under the deck until one night we were sitting at home and all of a sudden we started smelling skunk. Now, you smell skunk, especially, I don't know if it's happening in other cities, but in Elyria, let me tell you, these skunks are taking over. The skunk and the deer. But anyhow, so the smell kept getting stronger and stronger, and we were like, is there a skunk in the house? What's going on? When I tell you that smell was strong, it was so strong that we had to pack up and leave the house. And at the time we were renting, so we called the landlord and we couldn't figure out what was happening. And so we spent like 3 days in a hotel, and after a while the smell kind of faded. But here's the crazy thing. Like, even the clothes that were shut up in our dresser that weren't out, when we went in to pull them out, all you could smell was skunk. The stuff that was closed up in closets and cabinets, all you could smell was skunk. Skunk smell like permeates everything about you. We thought that we had gotten out with some clothes or whatever, so we washed them at the hotel, sent my son to school. The principal called and was like, yeah, you can smell the skunk. So we went and got him. It's crazy how much that stench permeates. And so I was thinking about that. And it didn't matter what we did. We could have put perfume on. We could have sprayed Febreze. We could have done whatever. And the stench was still there because the skunks were still there. What had happened was 3 skunks, because we had to get a trapper, had wheeled their way up under there. It was 1 female and 2 males, and the 2 males were vying for this 1 female, and evidently shooting off that wonderful smell they have does that for them. So the trapper came in, but here's the thing. The trapper came in, but he didn't fix how they got in there. So like 5 months later, I remember it vividly because my family had gone to bed and I was up watching Nick at Night. I was watching an old episode of Roseanne and I went, no. And I ran and I woke my husband up and we hurried up and threw clothes for everybody in bags and left the house. This time the landlord came in and they trapped skunks again. They closed up how the skunks got in there. And they even had to bring a oxidation machine or whatever, like you do once a place has had a fire. Like, it was crazy. That's what they needed in order to get that smell out of the house. So we were out of the house for like a week, maybe more. Anyhow, so that smell you couldn't get rid of. I thought about that. That's kind of how negativity is. Like, people don't want to be around you if you're negative because the stench of it kind of gets on you. Like, it'll affect your day. It can affect your mood. And the crazy thing is, just like the skunks, no matter what you do, whatever it is you're negative about, you being negative about it is not going to change it. And I think that's when, years ago, I think that finally hit me. I know, I might have been a little slow about it. That if bad things happen, and I still choose to be positive, it still doesn't change the bad thing. What it did was change my attitude. What I did was change my attitude about it. When bad things happen and I choose to be negative about it, I'm literally just adding to the bad things. Like, at least if I choose to be positive, I can find some good in the world and find some good around me. And I'm not bringing other people down with the stench of my negativity. Whether you choose to handle what's thrown at you in a positive light or in a negative, whether you choose to be the person that takes those things in stride and decides to be positive, or you choose to be the one that wallows in negativity, Neither one of those is going to actually change what that situation is. But what it will do is change you, and it helps to change those around you. Nobody wants to be around a negative person, because that negativity, honestly, is worse than a skunk stench. At least we finally figured out how to get the stench of the skunk out of the house. The stench of negativity kind of follows you around and stays with you. And if you're negative and you're a parent, your children become negative. If you're a coworker, your coworkers become negative. If you're a child, your parents can become negative. The stench of negativity is so contagious that it can take you into a downward spiral that sometimes it's hard to get out of. Guys, I'm not saying life is easy, because it's not. Stuff is always happening. Stuff's always going to come at you. But somehow, will yourself to see the positive, and will yourself to be positive, because then those bad things that happen, even though it doesn't necessarily change those things, it does change the way you handle it. And sometimes that makes you a little bit stronger. Because the fact is, if you're a strong person, then there's a lot of stuff that you've gone through to put you in that position. So remember that, and give yourself a little grace, and try not to be negative, because that stench really does affect those around you. Worse yet, it stays on you. And the longer it stays on you, the more negative you get. And it makes it harder sometimes even to face a new day. And you're better than that. You've got so much positive in your life to live for. Even if you don't see it right now, look at your children. Look at your friends. Look at the positives on your job. I know some of us are in jobs that we're like, we don't see any positive. You're getting a paycheck for now. Look at what life has to offer. Try to stay positive. I'm not saying it's easy. I've had my days in the past where negativity just followed me, and I kind of wrapped myself in it and made it my best friend. But I can't do that anymore. I've got to be better for myself, for the people around me, just in general. Because if you look at life in a more positive, then when bad things happen, they don't seem as devastating. All right. I want you guys to have a super wonderful day. Be good to each other, and choose to be positive, even if people around you choose otherwise. Be good to each other. Bye.